All right, sound check. Let's hear if you can hear us.
Yeah, please feel free. Check in. Let us know how we sound. Hopefully there's not an echo.
Let's see if this NFL-ready equipment actually works.
So, and coming next in the parade is Snoopy. Here comes Snoopy coming down. Snoopy is 100 feet tall. I feel like I'm doing a Rose Parade thing. Yeah.
Wow, great. Thank you, Kyria.
Hang on one second.
She says you can hear us.
Okay, cool.
I don't hear an echo this time either.
I do have it a little bit.
Oh, really?
Yep.
No, it's all right. There you go.
Wait, I'm going to fix it. Awesome. Now I got it. Oh, thank you, Joe. Thank you, Kyria. Hi, Kathleen.
So nothing's really going to change about the show, I guess, for a couple minutes early for those who are on.
Yeah.
Jill and I have to say are in a little bit better of a mood because how can you be in a bad mood at Disneyland?
Yeah. Would you go with me to Disneyland later, Jack?
No.
Oh.
No.
Just because we're here doesn't mean I get to go do it. Thanks.
Kids are out of the house.
Thanks a lot.
Out of the house. We don't have to go to Disneyland anymore.
We're right by Disneyland.
That's
I just want to go. Thanks a lot. Okay.
Would you rather talk about land and go to Disneyland?
I can talk about land at Disneyland.
Yeah. That's what we're actually going to do.
Okay, good.
You know, all the super serious people that are part of our group that are interested in making money and actually making money,
mm-hmm.
We're going to lose them today.
Oh. Okay.
We're not actually horsing around. So here's the deal. Since it is before the time we're supposed to start.
Can you tell what we're doing?
Yeah, well, you know what? You go ahead. It's your Rose Bowl.
Oh.
Jill's making believe that she's actually commentating the Rose Bowl.
This is exactly how it goes. Or we can do a play. Yeah. So I feel like I'm hosting the Rose Parade right now. So Jack and I are here, and we didn't want to miss our call. And we thought how cool this would be to just have our call where we are. So we are at Podcast Motivation 2017. This is actually only the third year, believe it or not, that they've had an event like this. And so we're here. It's more podcasters, but there's a lot of broadcasters too. Because I was kind of explaining a little Facebook Live a little while ago, just to tell everybody what we're doing, what's going on for the show today,
right,
or the call today. But the media of broadcasting, i.e. radio, is finally now paying attention to us podcasters. So we are here to learn from them, and I think it's more of them learning from us.
And get on the radio.
And well, that's Jack's other
it's my agenda.
Reason. So I'm just having fun making our shows better, and I'm learning about all kinds of great things that we're going to take back and share with everyone here. Social media, stuff that we, even though we're using it for our show to get more people in our community, it's stuff that we can all use to boost our buyers list, our sellers list. I mean, all of that stuff is valuable. Man, if someone had a show just about, can you imagine if Luke Smith did a show about property he's selling, or I don't know, or just for sellers? I don't know if that would be a show, but
the more exposure we get, the more exposure Landpin gets, the more exposure we all get.
That's true.
That's really what this is all about.
Exactly.
It's not just for us.
So good. Thank you, Kyria. Do my bangs look okay, Kyria? You look great. Thank you. So, all right, we're it's about 3 o'clock. We're about to start, and I think it'd be fun. Feel free to ask, about anybody or what's going on behind us. So it's too cute. There's as you can see, it's all equipment and like marketing people.
Might as well be in fact, we're actually in Las Vegas.
That's it. That's really good. That's exactly what it does look like. So, all right. So if you have anything funny you want to ask about what's going on behind us or anything, please.
Neither one of us should be actually standing upright based on what happened last night.
Oh, thanks. All right. Should we jump into our show and have some fun? All right. So I'm going to get in and read our questions. So, all right. Jack and Jill, this is from Jean. Got right in there. Jack and Jill, a quick story about Jack being right about everything.
What?
I know. I bought a property last week and called the county planning and zoning to learn a little so I could answer questions for potential buyers. The planning and zoning guy spent 20 minutes telling me, 1, it's probably in a flood zone. I love it. 2,
my other brother, Daryl.
The groundwater is basically poison. I love this. This is so funny. And 3, he wouldn't want the property if he was given to him.
Uh-huh.
I was disturbed by all of this until that very day. I listened to your podcast. Oh my goodness, what good timing. Where you warned, don't ever call a county. They have nothing good to say, and you were so right. I just thought I'd share. Oh, Gene, that is hilarious. Thank you so much. Jack, you want to add to that?
That was his other brother, Daryl.
That was was Daryl and Earl. And I have to tell you, I'm not real good about going back and re-listening to our shows. Kind of like after we record them, I kind of go on to other things. So I did go back and listen to that show, and even I was laughing. I was in the car laughing out loud to myself over the Daryl Earl thing because it was so funny. So thank you.
Just to
so
be
much.
clear, I mean, honestly, Gene, it's not that you should never listen to the county. You should definitely use them as a fantastic resource. They're just not the end all resource.
Yeah, and their opinion. These are opinions, and it doesn't necessarily make sure it's right or true. So awesome. Okay, so Jared asks, the appraisal that I asked you about 2 weeks ago worked out. My real estate agent earned his money.
What?
He got the appraiser to do a new appraisal.
Oh my gosh.
Oh.
You know what?
Do you remember
Jared,
more?
I would love to. Could you send me an email on that whole story, or actually post it in Land Investors, and we'll do a whole show on. We love to be wrong about real estate agents. That's what we'll call it. Maybe even have you on the show if you want to be on the show. I'd love to hear that whole story. You know, the positive stories about real estate agents and how they help deal
are few and far between.
Right. So we need to cherish this and actually exploit it and make a whole show out of it.
Yes, if you've got one, we'd love it. Thank you. All right. So, Peter asks, if I mail, so pause here. If I mail to Mojave County, assuming it's not overdone with pesky land flippers, would you make an offer of $130 per acre on 20 acres, $100 on 40 acres, and $80 on 80 acres and above, or would you do it differently? Same question for Yavapai and San Bernardino.
Yeah, so I would, in general, price it that way, except for the 80 on 80. I think that's getting a little bit too low. Pricing for Yavapai is going to be dramatically at least double over Mojave. I know the counties are next to each other, but they're really, really different in altitude. So Yavapai is much higher and has much better foliage. Mm-hmm. Yavapai County, to people from Phoenix, is like, I don't know where you're from, Peter, but back in Detroit, we would all go up north, so to speak. Mm-hmm. Yavapai County is the place that you go in the state of Arizona where you have a cabin, and it's kind of the gateway to the Grand Canyon, the eastern part of the Grand Canyon, which is very less traveled than the western part, which is where the locals go. Mm-hmm. So Yavapai, I would probably double that, and even then, you're not going to get the response that you probably would expect in Mojave. And then San Bern, that pricing is about right. I would kick it up maybe $25 to $75 an acre. There's several people in this group that have made a living in San Bernardino County doing what you're doing. So we'll see how that goes.
Thank you.
Yeah, pricing's generally good.
All right, I have Luke Smith stuff here. And by the way, he has a note that he's got...
just sent out 620 offers, and his phone's about to go.
6,200 offers.
Yeah. 6,200. What did I say?
620.
Oh, wouldn't that be funny?
Luke's sending out 62 offers. Hold on. 6,200. Hello. Yes, it is going to go nuts. Luke said, sold land in a new county and called the county clerk person about recording the deed. They said I need 2 witness signatures on the deed. Have you ever heard of that?
Yeah. And I have a lot to say about this.
Okay. I looked up the laws, and it turns out that A or B, A uses notary, etc. B uses 2 witnesses, etc. So you can do either. So the recorded person is wrong, but it got me thinking and wondering if we can use witnesses instead of notaries in more places.
Yes.
Brilliant.
You know,
go. Yeah.
So here's the deal with the witness. You're exactly right.
Brilliant.
You can either use a notary or you can use witnesses. The witnesses have to vouch for. This is California now, by the way.
We did this.
We did.
For someone in California.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have what they're saying is we know this person to be who they say and claim they are. So the answer is yes. You can use 2 witnesses. how it's going to hold up in a court if there's a scenario, if the situation gets to be like that. I'm not sure, but we have done that, Luke, with success. Let me put it that way. Recently.
Yep. It is awesome. Jared asks, I have a particular type of property I'm looking for. I doubt there are 10,000s of this type nationwide. Can I do a nationwide search in RealQuest Pro? It would suck to do this by county.
Yeah, no, you can't.
Yeah.
I'm really sorry about that. And but we are about to become a licensed provider for First American Title. I mean, we're like days away, and I know you can do it there. Do you know if you can do it in Title Pro?
The new one?
National.
Oh, in Title Pro?
Remember we looked at that movie star?
Shucks.
I think you can.
You can
check
pull.
Title Pro.
Yeah, you know what? You can do some interesting searches nationwide in Title Pro 24/7. It's called I think it's under farm. I don't think it's under property search. I think it's under farm. So
which
you know
has nothing
what?
to do with farming.
Jared, try that. Play with Title Pro 24/7, and if you would let us know.
Yeah.
So that would be great. You might have some success with it there.
If not, First
the new
American,
product might
First
do
American
it too.
Data Arm's got it for sure. If you can wait a few days or a weekish.
Weeks. Okay. In case you weren't sure, let me tell you how Jack's timeline is.
Oh my gosh.
Tomorrow means a week from Tuesday. Today means this weekend. What else do you want me to do?
No, it doesn't matter.
It's
Bash on Dad Day.
No,
anyway,
it's not. No, it's not. No, we all want it tomorrow, and I know you want to do it tomorrow too. But there's contracts and things involved, and I'm actually waiting for the big contract. We've actually settled the deal and the terms, but they haven't sent me the contract, so that's where we are.
Which we will immediately sign.
Exactly. So
because Jill negotiated a smoking deal for all of us.
It is coming. Deal. Thank you. All right. So Richard asks, "Hey Jack and Jill, I have a question about the properties you reviewed last week, located in Tiburon, New Mexico.
I remember.
The seller of the 10.77 acre property is firm at $18,000, and the 2.9 acre property is at $2,000. Any thoughts on pricing for sales in this area?"
I mean, I wouldn't. $18,000 for 10 acres is. I don't think it's not what we discussed. I don't think. I'm trying to remember. Remember we went through. I remember doing it in Tiburon. I remember the whole parcel fact thing. But I don't remember the exact pricing. 2,000.
If it's worth 50, then 18,000 makes sense. So I'm trying to remember. I'm looking to see. Do you have any notes?
2.9 acre property at 2,000 sounds very reasonable to me.
Right.
I would think that. Yeah, I think it is 2.9, not $2.90. There's a dollar sign, but I think you should be able to clear $5,000 if it's got access and all that stuff. Honestly, I can't remember. I remember there wasn't a bad property in the bunch. How's that?
Yeah, I'm looking down. All right, so if you have, we'll get to that here. If you want to add to it, Richard, thank you. All right, JT asks, should we disqualify properties because of their shape? We have an 8.5 acre property we could buy that is really long and not really wide. I know where you're going with this.
Yeah.
I think my best guess is 0.25 acres wide. Thank you for your thoughts.
Yeah, so I call these around the office sliver properties. And I know I've talked to Luke about this too. We get a lot of them in at our level of outgoing mail. So you really want to look at each property that's a sliver property and look at how wide it is. So if it is, don't have a best guess at it. Pull a plat map and actually see how wide it is. And then see if it's usable. So 100 feet wide is very usable. 25 feet wide, unless you live right on the beach over here, is not a usable lot in general when it's pretty rural. So the wider the better. But when you get to an 8 acre lot that's real narrow, and a 1/4 acre wide is actually a pretty large. That's pretty okay in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want an 8-foot lot, and you see a lot of those in Canada for some reason. I have no idea why.
Really?
Yeah.
Is it just an access? Is it a place to
best guess.
Get my trash ban things to the curb?
It's all agricultural based. It's all agricultural based.
Okay.
So you can,
so I can get water through there?
Maybe. Or
utilities?
You want to run a tractor or a plow through there 3 times instead of 3,000.
8 feet?
Yeah.
That's barely a car.
I know.
Okay.
8 feet is, so what happens is, oh man, I got to explain it now. So here's the deal.
I wouldn't buy a boat with that girth. Is that the right word? That's the right word?
That's a good thing, man.
I know, sorry.
when a subdivider goes in and truly does an entitlement type subdivision, not a parcel split like us, there's always leftover property, and that's what I mean by a sliver. So when the assessor, especially in the 60s and 70s, assigns an APN to a little sliver like that, it just gets put into circulation, and people just keep passing it around, even though there's really pretty much nothing you can do with it.
Yeah.
Let me get an example of somebody that actually did something with it right where we live.
Yep.
You know the property that's under the power lines? They turn that into a nursery, and they grow, plants and stuff. So
Christmas trees and all that. Seriously,
I would argue that all property has some use, but just make sure that it's wide enough. And it's usually leftover property from a rogue assessor's assistant who assigned it an APN.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Jared did say, "Will do. Let's do it." That's awesome. All right, Sham God. I gotta look up your first name. I see you in Sham God. I see you in Land Investors.
And I'd like to personally thank you actually for all of your extremely vocal and intelligent and Land Investors, and I appreciate it.
Yeah, we've I don't know if you've noticed, we've used some of your questions on our show. So thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. So there's been multiple subdivisions where after I've spoken with the realtor, they tell me that the specific subdivision doesn't sell for one reason or another because of a restriction, etc. If I hadn't talked to realtors, I would have been in trouble. How deep of due diligence should you do with realtors before buying property? Because by LandWatch percent standards, they would have been home runs, but I would have lost bad because of the specific issues.
So actually, this was in Success Plan. I'm Success Plan. Listen to me. In landinvestors.com. I have to differ with this here, because if people are buying and selling property on land all over the internet in this specific subdivision, what's so bad about it? And realtors don't like any property that they don't have listed themselves personally.
True.
Or that they've heard rumors about. So realtors are famous for just creating rumors about crap.
True.
Like a sewing circle.
Well,
I'd love to know exactly what's wrong with it. And I think from Land Investors, I remember it's a subdivision that has recreational use only, meaning maybe it's wet, or for whatever reason maybe there's a deed restriction. There's a ton of property people that would love to park an RV for a couple of days on a property that they own that's incredibly inexpensive, go have a blast and leave. So
we've had some. I remember.
Let us know what the issue is.
Well, if you want to put a well in, there was I can't think of the subdivision right now. I think I know it, but I'm not going to say it. Where they were selling individual parcels, but if you wanted to put a well in, that parcel was too small, so you had to have two together.
And even that was hearsay.
Yeah,
it was just a rumor that got spread over decades.
And then
it's really not true.
Exactly. So that was my point.
And it wasn't a well; it was septic.
Okay, is that what it was? Okay, thank you. There was something I'm talking about. Yeah. So it was like everybody got the story wrong, and they just kept passing on the same story. Yeah. So, and that's a good point. You're asking a realtor. You're not talking to zoning and planning. I would not. I appreciate the information they give you, but then I would still follow it up, like Jack said.
I mean, even the other brother, Daryl, works for planning and zoning, so even that.
That's true.
They're susceptible to rumors.
Yeah, you got to make sure you're talking to the right Daryl.
If you want to know the truth, call Luke Smith. He knows everything.
I love it. Love it. All right, Hi, Kathleen. Kathleen asks, is a quiet title action necessary to clear the title and be eligible to get future title insurance when purchasing a parcel which the seller bought on a treasurer's deed? Parcel is in Arizona and was purchased back in January 2014. If so, can a quiet title be a DIY thing, or is an attorney absolutely necessary? There's a possibility that there are several other parcels also purchased on treasurer's deeds.
Yes, there are.
Love them. That the seller wants to liquidate. I love where this is going. I like those. Figuring out a cost-efficient method to do quiet title actions that could make this a home run.
Good. So
go.
I love quiet title actions. I would argue that they're better than getting title insurance. So the answer is hell yes. There's an attorney that wrote a book about this. That the first copy I bought, I read it so much that it fell apart. I had to buy another one, honestly. And if you email me, Kathleen, or maybe I'll remember it by the end of the answer here, I'll let you know. So what you need to do is literally file a lawsuit and then follow the statutory procedures. They're the same in the whole state. That's the good news. Follow LAWSA, run through the statutory procedures, which involve posting an ad in the newspaper like it's 1961, and a few other things, and you're going to get that property. There are people in the state, I'll tell you, and I know several of them, that make their whole life career this. This is what they do. They have software to do it. You also can buy property. It's the same exact procedure as foreclosing on a tax lien. It's a quiet title action. Exactly the same with very couple tiny little procedure differences. And if you've ever pulled a tax lien list, an over-the-counter tax lien list of property that's immediately foreclosable, meaning it's old enough, it's the size of a phone book. So you can make a massive amount of money doing exactly what you're talking about. To directly answer your question, do you need an attorney? No. But the first time, I would pay one to do it, and make sure you ask the attorney. The attorney's not going to do anything. They're going to have their legal assistant do all of it. It's shuffling paperwork. But you need to learn how to do it right.
Yep.
Darn, I can't remember that attorney's name. I'll think of it by the end, though.
Okay.
I hope that answers your question. And actually, Kathleen, your personality type is perfect for this because there's a lot of detailed little stuff, but you're going to end up with 40, 50, 80, 100 properties, probably thousands if you want, that are large acreage, high quality properties for $1,000 each.
Right, because no one else knows how to do it.
Yeah.
That's
In
perfect.
fact, you could go to this person and say, you could make a consulting business out of it. You could actually do quiet title actions for people who have treasury deeds. So going down that specialization path is very profitable.
Yep.
There's very few people that do it.
Awesome. Shem got added. One subdivision was, back to the earlier question, said no ATVs, no hunting, no fireworks, no noise at all. Okay,
that's where we live.
Exactly.
Luke lives there too, but he keeps chickens.
He does. He's not listening. He's whatever, bucking the system.
This is a true story. I got to tell this story.
Okay, go ahead.
I haven't even told you this.
Whoa.
Took an early morning motorcycle ride 4 days ago. Before we came to this thing.
Okay.
And there's wild peacocks all over Palos Verdes.
Seriously?
Yeah. Packs of them.
Really?
Yeah, big ones.
For real?
Yeah, I'm not joking.
Did they get out of somebody's yard?
No, who keeps a peacock?
Like Liberace? I don't know.
I stand corrected.
Okay.
Liberace keeps peacocks.
Elton John. Maybe Elton John's backyard. I don't know. So that's hilarious. Okay. He said the subdivision was so bad. Why is that bad? No ATVs, no hunting, no fireworks, no noise. That's most HOAs, I thought. Was so bad that no subdivision rights that the subdivision started buying back the property and selling it back to the subdivision site. 100 listed, none selling, and they were buying one, get the next 50% off. That's I would chillify that thing and just figure out some promotion and somehow make it work. Yep, exactly. Peter asked, does adding a filter for time owned in RealQuest, I know where you're going, increase odds of, hold on a second here, of success? No. For example, making an offer on landowners less than 5 years, less than 10 years, any way to exclude zips or subdivisions?
My hat's off for you looking at this creatively. And I truly mean that. People who look at data creatively, like you just have, really, really win at this.
Right.
That being said, that specific issue about people who own property for a longer amount of time, we've tested it and retested it over the years, and that is not material in the letter response that you're going to get.
Right.
The yield on a mailer, I should say.
By the way, if anything, I would think that the ones that owned it the longest, because they really didn't use it. You know what I mean? But you can't gauge it. Just mom and dad could have owned it for 50 years, and then it just got put into the trust a year ago. It didn't really change hands, but it looks like it did. So now it pops up that transfer was a year ago.
Yeah.
So that skews your whole system.
Yeah.
But you can exclude things if you could do, like Jack talks about, digging down into the APN scheme too. Because you can usually get an APN scheme down to a subdivision and weed those out if you want to do that.
And if you have a relatively urban county, you can exclude the subdivisions listed there. But the problem with subdivisions is that sometimes it's spelled wrong. So you're going to exclude like 80 or 90% of it. So to answer your question directly, can you exclude subdivisions? Yes. You just have to do it carefully.
Right.
Can you exclude zip codes? I've never done that. I don't know. Situs zip, I would assume you could. I've never done it.
You might be able to. We're about to have a pro in our backyard. Jen might know.
Yeah. What do you mean pro?
Well, we have a pro.
What am I?
Well, I'm sorry.
Well, we're about to actually, after how many years of doing this, this is what my girl says. This is what my girl says. We're about to have a professional data person come on staff.
You are professional.
And help you guys with these questions.
I'm sorry, but it might be able in there right now. I haven't used it. I haven't got. Okay. I was just training Jen, and I don't remember off the top of my head. I thought Jen has a list. So anyway, never mind. All right. Richard asked.
It could be the Jill and Jen show if you'd like.
Jack.
I'll go back to Detroit.
No. Richard asks, any experience purchasing? Are they going to say the Jack and Jen show? Oh.
Jack and Jen.
Yeah, I like it. Okay, all right.
That.
Okay.
I want Jill.
Okay, thank you.
Expert or not?
I want Jack. Oh, me?
Yeah.
Silly.
Expert or not?
Me, expert or not?
Yeah.
I'm not an expert.
I don't know if you're an expert.
Okay, thanks.
I don't care if you are. That's my point. I like it anyway.
You just like my bangs. Just kidding. All right. Any experience purchasing a property from a trustee listed under a profit-sharing plan? This came up last week, didn't it?
I don't know why a trustee under a profit-sharing plan would be any different than a trustee under a regular trust.
Yeah. Unless the profit-sharing plan has a exclusion, but I wouldn't know. So,
I wouldn't think that's any different.
Oh, I'm sorry.
As long as you're able to actually legally sign a doc, you're okay.
I'm sorry. I just saw the corner of my eye. I saw something really funny. Thank you, Dave. Says, are you at a career fair? That's what it looks like.
Yes, we are actually.
So, we are. We're trolling for jobs. I'm just kidding. We're not sure this whole thing's going to take off. I'm sorry. That was so good. Did you decide to get a real job?
Yeah,
love it.
We need a viable fallback.
We don't have enough in our time and all of our things that we're going to throw in. That's so funny. Okay, Dave, let me give you a real quick update. So if anybody's just joining in, we are at Podcast Motivation 2017.
Motivation.
Motivation.
That's classic stuff.
What's it called? Podcast?
Movement,
excuse me. Anyway, podcast movement.
Who thought
2017.
About that?
I don't know. It's kind of weird.
Bowel movement.
It does sound like bowel movement. Anyway, it's the third year. They did what? Dallas, Chicago, and this year Anaheim. This is our first time. Anyway, it's podcasters uniting, and it seems like the theme around here is embrace the weird broadcast people that do radio. That's the theme, because podcasters and broadcasters are so different.
We don't even fit in anywhere, actually.
I don't feel, because we try to have a podcast that's like a broadcast, so we're more open to it. But the funny thing is, the broadcasters think that all the podcasters are doing podcasts because they couldn't make it as a broadcaster. So it's kind of funny. It's just really. They
brought an industry expert in yesterday.
Yeah.
And I mean, this is like, it's called the Edison Group. They're known for data analysis. It's not the light bulb company. It's different, and they said flat out, podcasting is about 89% of the audio space for talk. Mm-hmm. And radio's left 10%, including NPR. And so, but still, everybody is walking around with looking down at their nose. All the radio people are just, they're like, you guys are all freaks.
No, they described.
Apparently, the freaks are taking over.
They described them as.
We're the leader of the freaks.
I thought everybody that listened to a podcast has a beard and wears a flannel shirt.
Yeah.
We all laughed. We're like, okay. So, all right. Shamgod asks, let's say a property is worth $10,000. We're used to paying $3,000 for the property in that area. If it didn't have road access, you could get to it, would it still be paying $3,000? If not, how much lower would you go in this general example?
So there's two ways to look at this. If you know you can sell it for $6,000 after all the research, then you're going to be okay. Or you could Jillify it. And you could do a cute little video, a screenshot video, and snag it or whatever else, and go back to the seller and said, chances are the seller's never seen the property or a picture of it, and say, this is not what I thought, and I know that I sent you a letter for $3,000. At $1,000, I can take it off your hands, and chances are nobody else is going to agree to buy this thing because of the access issue anyway. Mm-hmm. So am I saying you should do that on every deal? No way. Some people do that, and I think it's really slimy. But when it really does have a material alteration or attribute, well, in this case, it's one of the actual 4As, access. I don't
if it
see
has
anything
everything
wrong.
else, if there's something, if it checks all the other boxes, but the nearest road is 2 miles away, then it's not. But you still think you could do something with it?
Yeah.
Then
just make sure it's marketable.
Right. So
if it's a square and there's just absolutely nothing around, I would be very leery of, again, ask Luke Smith about some of the properties he has in inventory that have been around for a while. They're like that.
I want to reiterate too, if you buy something for $3 and you sell it for $5, did you make a mistake? No. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
People sometimes think I failed. I'm like, why do you think buying it for $3,000, selling it for $5 was a miss? Because it's still, you're better than Costco. You're better than anything out there.
You're asking all the right questions.
So, yeah. So that's awesome.
Keep moving forward.
Peter asks, is there a best county resource list for, Jack has one. Resource list for easy splitting or just research on our own?
No, research on your own. There's no real book. There's books that discuss it. There's resources that discuss it. We are launching a website sometime. That's
what I was going to allude to.
Countywise, WISE. That's completely free to everybody. And we're making some good progress on it. You literally click on a state, click on a county and a map, and then it pulls up all the information. And we have virtual assistants that keep that information up to date. So there's a lot of stuff in there, like how many properties are in the actual county. I mean, it's a wealth. There's nothing like it on the internet. Mm-hmm. And one of those things is a split analysis. And so that will be the resource. But as right now, no.
Cool. Shamgod asks, is there one subdivision where I've got a bunch of signed offers back in a subdivision that doesn't really move after talking to realtors? Stuff sits on the market for 1 to 2 years. I have some thoughts on that. Right. That's what I was going to say. Yeah, because they marketed it and they went for retail and we were just here to move it. Should I not buy more than 1 to 2 of them, that subdivision, even if it's going to be priced really low? I'm buying at $7,000 to $8,000 and it sells very slowly at $20,000 to $25,000.
So I have a lot to say about this. I love situations like this because we know the realtors are wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Not just because they're realtors, but we just know that, okay, there's only 2 reasons. I wrote a blog on this more than a year ago. There's exactly 2 reasons that real estate doesn't sell. And I'm pulling a Captain Obvious moment here.
You are.
Number 1, it's too expensive. And number 2, the right people, potential buyers, they don't even know it's for sale.
You didn't reach them.
So both, when realtors say, no, it takes too long, that it's just because they're bad realtors.
And it's priced at retail and it's on Zillow, and that's it. And that's all they've done.
And the MLS, or worse, just the MLS, which no one cares about land on the MLS, right? 9 times out of 10. So I love the situation you're in. Now you have a tremendous amount of sale price data and days on market and a whole thing. And just because they're being negative about it, that's even better.
Mm-hmm.
Buy the properties at $2,000 to $3,000 or $4,000, maybe more, and sell them for $10,000.
Mm-hmm.
If they're selling for $20,000 to $25,000 and very slowly, guess what's going to happen if you buy them at $10,000 and buy them for $5,000?
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Sell them for $10,000, buy them for $5,000.
Exactly. Luke said, I think the witness in California is still coupled with a notary.
Oh, it is.
Well,
he's right.
Well, we had the notary. We were the witnesses, and the notary was there.
The notary did the deal, though. And the notary still signed it.
They
just didn't sign off on the fact that that's that person.
Correct. So that was the situation. The person that we were with didn't have the right ID because they had a name change.
That's right.
So we showed up with the notary. The notary took down our information, which was interesting, as the legal witnesses with ID vouching for that person. So it's still a good, viable.
But I think Luke's right, because I think the notary has to stand there and orchestrate the whole thing.
Well,
I don't think we could have just walked in and done it.
Is the situation because there's no notary around, or is the situation because there's an ID issue?
ID issue.
Well, then if it's an ID issue, this solves it.
I still think the notary has to orchestrate the whole thing and say, you sign here, you sign here.
But that's okay. If it's an ID issue, though, like our exact situation, it was a name change kind of thing. That's all I'm just saying.
Okay.
It was a name change kind of thing. So we vouched for that person. If this is this name change kind of person, you can still get the deal done.
I agree with you.
But you have to have a notary and the 2 witnesses.
I think you have to have a notary as a ringleader.
That's what I'm saying. I'm agreeing with you.
Okay.
All right. Let's see here.
Wait, this one I'm referring to is in South Carolina.
Can have 2 witnesses sign that I'm granting the land to with no notary involved. So that's interesting to me.
That's good. I mean,
I love that.
That's one step closer to not needing a notary to close a deal, which is where we all want to go.
Exactly. Is the added Peter, good question. Is the added help for mailers up and running or coming soon?
Answer that, please.
Really? Why? Are you?
No, because I don't want to get in trouble.
Oh no, it's okay.
What's your answer? Because I bet mine's different.
Okay, I'll let you know on Monday. So we've done a little bit of testing, like a very little bit of testing. I'm looking to see if no, he's not on this call. The person but we've heard good things.
Office owners will entirely and completely do away with direct contact with Letterstream.
Yeah.
We are slated to completely and totally open the doors on Monday. Pricing's all it's only a couple cents different, but you get a tremendous amount of help and really hand-holding to get the documents done right and the whole deal. So
right.
It is. I'm probably going to get in trouble for it now anyway. Is
Jen going to be totally ready to do it all on Monday?
We've processed,
why not? That's our goal.
Several large orders with early adopters this week with great success. So we need to run a couple more software tests and stuff, but if not Monday, it'll be Wednesday.
Yeah. But you can call. Hey, you know what? Go on Monday, look up the phone number and give Jen a call. So, yeah. And then she'll tell you.
What's the number? 800-725-8816.
Thank you.
800-725-8816.
So, yeah.
I mean, we had it open for a day, 2 days.
Yeah.
While we were working on it and cleaning it up, and 62 people signed up.
Exactly. So
we know that. We understand.
Yep. Hey, Kelly Ray. All right. Hurricane Harvey. I don't know where you are, but I did hear hurricanes coming. Someone said something about in Austin today I talked to. If I get a real estate license, can we still use not realtors as part of our marketing strategy?
No, I'm sorry, you can't.
Gotta disclose that stuff.
And here's why. The state, whatever state you're in, is real. They have real specific laws and rules about marketing material. So if you become a realtor and you take the test and you have a license and the whole thing, you're in their database, but you just never tell anybody about it. And you walk around like an investor, like Jill and I do, and most of the people in the group here, you're going to get in a lot of trouble.
There's no reason, though, that you can't disclose that and still do business as usual.
That's true.
You could still say, hey, by the way, I am a licensed realtor, right? Whatever your state requires, and however you have you have to sometimes put on your website. It has to be listed a certain way, and
your broker's
things
got to
like
sign
that.
off and everything.
He knows about it. She knows about it.
The think of it is this: you're really opening yourself up to a bunch of liability as a licensed realtor when you do your own deals, including buying and selling your own primary residence.
Right.
And your broker's supposed to sign off on a lot of crap on deals that you're personally doing. I know in Arizona it's like that anyway, and I have an issue with that.
Right.
Why is some broker who's half as bright as Jill and I signing off on my own deal that I'm doing anyway? That seems
exactly my deal way over here, 2 states away.
Seems anti-American.
So yeah, so you got to make sure you do the right stuff. Marilyn asks,
my dad doesn't sign off on whether or not I have 1 scotch or 2 scotch at nights. No, I don't need some old guy who's living in his 50s.
Exactly. My mom stopped telling me stop speeding a long time ago. I never listened to her anyway. Just kidding.
Hey, Grandpa, I'm going to do the real estate deal whether you like it or not.
Exactly. And I'm going to have 2 scotches afterwards.
Before I sign.
That's right. Tell that to my broker. Tell that to your broker. All right. Marilyn asks, I'm currently researching a new county in Colorado and noticed that after I pulled a property report from Title Pro 24/7, I noticed there were no assessor maps in the property report like I've seen in other reports.
Yep.
However, when I view on the screen, it shows the property lines. Is this a cause for concern?
No, here's the exact reason for that. The assessor didn't connect the data. Chances are, and I bet you $1 I can name the county in Colorado, which I won't do. The assessor never digitized their plat maps. So while the tax roll, the assessor roll, which is what you're pulling up, is available, and a bunch of stats on the property are available, they're probably in the process of scanning all their plat maps or not. It's really easy. It's much easier to implement a GIS system this day and age and forget about scanning the old school plat maps, which is probably why you can see lines on a screen.
I have a suggestion too. Why don't you pull it in Parcel Fact? Because you'll have the outline right there too.
Yeah. That's
by the way,
that's actually
don't worry about a plat map, and don't worry about what you're seeing in Google Earth Pro and guessing that those lines. But seriously, that's my number one thing. I can't tell you how I wish.
That's why we did that
5 years ago. If I had Parcel Fact, I mean the headaches that would have. Yeah. It's so easy to be on the phone with somebody now and go, okay, I'm looking at it. everything I need right now to check it is right there.
Again, this isn't a plug either, but we're about to sign this First American deal. So we will have all three major, as a member, you'll have access to all three of the. By the way, First American Title, the coverage is 100%.
Scary.
County
Scary.
coverage is 100%. It's not,
Jack and
98%. And so Jill and I were in the sales pitch meeting for this. They're trying to sell us to become providers. They came to us, by the way. I didn't come to them. They found us somehow.
Yep.
And they said, well, you got 100% coverage. I said, we both laughed out loud.
We both were like, yeah, right.
Like some sales
So we
guy
started to
right.
stump them. We're okay, try this one, try that one.
So I went and looked at the hardest counties we've never mailed because I haven't had the data. Now we have all of it.
Exactly. It's
even though
awesome.
I don't understand that. Like they must have gone into the counties in Arkansas that aren't even computerized and manually input.
It's like they woke up early and got him out of bed. They got Daryl out of bed. It's like, come on down here. I need that data.
Daryl,
wake up.
You want to lock the door? You got to call my other brother, Daryl.
That's right. Wrong Daryl. I love it. All right. Albert says, I'm buying from a trustee. Do you recommend that I add an affidavit of successor trustee in addition to the warranty deed, or just add him to the warranty deed as a trustee? I know what I would do.
The last part.
That's what I would do. I would do the minimum that the county requires. Every time you bog them down with extra stuff, you seem to open up a whole floodgate, and they're going to ask a lot of questions about it.
Yep.
And and then they're going to dig into your stuff, and they don't need to. Yeah. So I wouldn't.
Just like in a marriage, do the minimum required.
Like homework, do the minimum required. Let's go with that. Trevor asks, can I write off my expenses? Can I write off my expenses on traveling to my property in Colorado? What about the fly rods and the Coors Light?
I have a lot to say.
Yeah, I know. We're writing a lot off today.
I'm going to answer your question directly. The IRS looks at an expense report and they ask themselves this question: is it ordinary and necessary? And if you think Coors Light is ordinary and necessary in your life, like I do, then go for it.
And I hope you get the right.
Because we know it's ordinary. We're just not sure if it's necessary.
I don't know. Might be. Jared asks, do you think that blockchain will ever catch on in America for real estate?
It's funny you should ask. I have a story about that too.
Go.
Jill and I went just for fun, like all of us have done, right? Jill and I we say never drive for dollars. Never, ever do it. Well, everybody on this call, I bet you $1, has been driving down a street on a Sunday and there's an open house and it's not that far from your house. And you're like, we got 20 minutes to kill. Let's go in there. So we did this. There's a property that none of us combined could afford on the ocean. And we walk in and I start talking to the real estate agent. One thing leads to another. And the guy says, I just got written up in Forbes magazine for being the first person to complete a real estate deal with Bitcoin. Mm-hmm. This guy sold like a $14 million house and the guy paid with Bitcoins and the seller accepted it. All cash. So will blockchain ever catch up? First, I don't know. But I'll tell you, if you read our Constitution, you're not supposed to use anybody else's currency except the government where you live. So, and I'll leave that for a different show. We'll leave it for the Jack Jill show.
Okay.
Jill and I are, a couple months from now, going to release the Jack Jill show. Which discusses silly stuff like this.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Not just real estate.
Yep. Mike asks, hi guys. I've got a seller who, when I proposed an option agreement, said he was fine with me marketing the property and trying to find a buyer, but did not feel we needed to sign a contract. Should I stay away from this if he doesn't want to sign?
No.
Yeah, I'd still go right ahead. But then the only thing I would do is, Mike, before you collect the money from the person, when you find the buyer, make sure the guy's got it, get that then get the transaction started. I would actually still, even though the guy hangs up and says, yeah, you can still have it, I think I would get a little further along in the process before I accept this money. You know what I mean? But I'm good with that.
If it's tripping your radar as something bad, then don't. But
just because he says that doesn't bother me.
We don't do option deals too much anymore, but probably half of the ones that I've done personally before we had a staff and all that were unsigned like that. I prefer it that way.
It's a handshake.
Yeah, like 2 months down the road, you got a guy, you're marketing the property and everything's going great. And a guy calls you and says, I really want the property. Where do I send the money? He sends you the money. And so you call the seller and you say, look, let's just do the deal. And at the price that the guy wants.
And it's all good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with that too. That's not a red flag for me. I guess that's the thing.
Me either.
Yeah. Albert asks, I sold a parcel that sold a parcel that I sold on terms. Found out the buyer has a trailer on the property. Should I look the other way or tell him to get the trailer off until he pays in full? No, he loves it. He moved in.
You're the bank. So,
yeah.
If all of us here, most of us have purchased a house and we went and got a mortgage and then we moved in. So your guy did the same thing. He bought a piece of property. You're the bank. He's making payments on there and living on there. So no,
I think it's great.
If I understand the question correctly, this is Jill's kind of favorite kind of deal because the guy's probably going to stay there forever. In fact, you should send him an email and say, I understand there's a trailer there. Let's cut a deal. I'll give you 25% off if you can come up with the cash, and we take credit cards.
Thank you.
We are going to take credit cards, by the way. We've gotten to the bottom of that this week.
I'm sorry. I have to share something funny. Okay, so Jack and I are here at, for anybody who I think Westfield that just joined in, and we are at the Podcast Movement 2017 convention in Anaheim, California. And
really at the Bellagio.
Yeah, right. We're due for a poker game in 20 minutes, so no. And we're not at a job fair, so we see this. So we thought it'd be fun to...
Walmart wants to hire you.
Yeah, I got a second interview. So anyway, so we want to explain where we are again. So we thought it'd be fun, instead of not doing our show, we thought, we'll do it here. We'll just set up and share what's around us. You can see task cams, microphones. You can see marketing people behind us. Yeah. You can see video people behind us, other podcasts to get reviews, and all kinds of good stuff to get hosts. And so all kinds of fun stuff going on here. So anyway, I saw Trevor's little note from like an hour ago that said, y'all are lucky. He says, I have a face for radio and a voice for newspaper. I didn't notice that till just now. So I'm like, that's awesome. I love it. So we're here and just having a really good time. Okay, so Bill. Hello, I'm working on a micro mailer. I'm in RealQuest, map function. Good job.
I like it.
And I can't seem to find a way to just search with land with no improvements. Am I missing something? No. Thanks.
No, so here's the deal. As I understand it, and I've only horsed around with this a little bit, because I choose the APN scheme method of that. But I think that when you go to mapping, you have to give the data. You only get the data. This is how it works. You go to mapping and you choose the date. You choose the circle or the square or the triangle or the hexagon where you want to buy property. It kicks out below the map after you click it. The owners, okay. And so the last time I did this, it was for a subdivision. Did it recently. There were like 1,100 records. It was because there was a center point and a circle around. So 1,152 records. I downloaded them all. This is how I do a regular mailer anyway. And now I pay for it and downloaded 1,152 records, and I start scrubbing from there. So it costs at 10 cents a record. 1,100 records cost $110. So it's not a lot of money comparatively. And you're going to scrub out maybe 10, 20, 30% of that as non-use property or whatever else. Mm-hmm. And let her rip.
Yep.
When you really weigh it against how much money you actually make on one deal from that, because micro mailers are leaps and bounds. The most success we've had is micro mailers, just like you're doing. Yep. And if you can pull one or two properties out of that, especially if they're good ones, the $30 or $40 that you spend on data you're never going to use, it's not even worth talking about.
Exactly. Juan asks, hi guys, I was wondering if you guys still do the calls where you advise people on their data. Yes.
Yeah.
If so, can you please go over what these calls are usually like? I feel like I may have bombed my first mailing. I sent a 1,500 unit mailer in the beginning of June. I received 18 calls, mostly people wanting retail prices, a few angry phone calls, and one guy that was interested in selling that disappeared on me. No offers mailed back so far. Thanks for the help, guys.
Yeah, Juan. So in all the calls that I've done since we've started this, there's been a couple of times where this has happened, and so we've gone over it. You can schedule a call. If you're going to Land Academy, in their resources, you can see where you can schedule a call with me or Joe. And we step by step go over the mailer. It almost always, I'll save you some money and some time. It's almost always due to incorrect pricing.
I was just going to say that's usually it.
Yeah.
Too high or too low, because you can go both directions. I think
it's not too low, because if it was too low, I mean, if it's not too high,
not too high, everybody will call you. So too low, there's not enough.
Too high, you can get 700. Ask Luke.
Yeah,
700 things signed back.
Exactly.
Like, oh,
yes. Could you imagine?
I've experienced it.
Yeah, so go there and you can still do it. And you know what I would do, Juan? Just a little, if it were me, I'd save that information. You can have Jack eyeball it while you're ready to do your next one.
Yeah,
kind
exactly.
of thing.
Yeah, don't waste the data.
Yeah.
It will work.
Michael wants to know, how do you buy a property from a trust? Same as every other. You just have to word it differently. So if the property's in the trust, like it's in a trust, like it's in an individual, like it's in a company, that grantor, grantee, name, you just have to copy it exactly.
Right.
And then in the signature, whoever is the what's it called? Not the signer, the executor of the trust. Whoever is the legal signer. Yeah, the legal signer. Based on the trust, it'll say who has the authority to complete the property or whatever it is in the trust. You just have to put that person's name, and usually I copy whatever their other legal documents say, but it might be John Smith as trustee for the Smith Family Trust of 1988. Kind of thing. Where do I get that information from? Well, it's in the trust, number one. And then number two, I will ask them, just even to back myself up, your attorney's been having you sign for this trust, I'm sure, on other things. When your parents passed, I kind of copy,
all kinds of stuff.
Cars, their primary residence, all that stuff.
And cars and houses.
And I copy it. And in some situations, I've actually called their attorney, and they've shared it with me. I've actually called their attorney.
They'll talk to you.
And I just said, I just need this quick question. How do they sign for this? And they've shared that with me, and it's been really cool.
Here, to answer that, think of it like this, Michael. Michael, I'm proud of you, by the way. Remember that?
I do.
Anyway, Michael's killing it now.
Yeah.
Think of a trust. There are certain legal entities in this country that are allowed by law to own property. So an individual can own property. Joe can own a property. Jill owns an LLC.
A child can own a property.
That can own properties. A trust is just another legal entity that can own property, and it just needs to be treated like that. Mm-hmm. In fact, it's entirely exactly the same as an LLC. You treat it exactly the same way. Like a car can't own property.
Right.
So that's a good way to think of it.
All right. Brandon asks, what's your opinion on buying a lot that is mostly a hillside? This is good. Luke's done this. The lot is located in an area where people could build cabins in the mountains. Most of the lots are selling for $18,000 to $20,000, but are flat and could easily be built on. They said they would take $7,500. Should I pass because of the hillside, or talk them down more?
Go ahead.
Here's my first thought. They liked it enough to buy it. So I'm like, start with that. There's people out there that want this property. So they have this property for whatever reason. So, I mean, what do you don't like it?
Don't buy it.
Oh, okay. Well,
you don't need the aggravation.
Right.
Send more mail out.
Okay. I mean, could you work with it? Find the right person?
Is it an 8% grade, or is it a full-blown complete arroyo?
Well, let me back this, because we had property once that backed. Look, I can do visual stuff here. We had property once that
Jill can talk with her hands.
Backed up to a ridge, and we thought it was great. You're so silly. Because what did you say? I don't know. Oh, Lord. Anyway.
Here we go.
So, okay, wait, is he adding to it?
No, Luke's got a lot to say about this.
What did Luke say?
He said he sold it. Look, if you check your chat.
Sold a rocky, steep hill today, 10 acres for $3,000, paid $1,000, 400-foot drop to the street. And we put it up to against a protective ridge is how we marketed ours.
I've had similar experiences. At this point in my career, I would not buy it, just because I don't need the extra talking that goes on with a property like that, which Luke is not afraid of, by the way.
Well, wait, Kathleen has something here. This is legit, isn't this, Kathleen? Earth ships can be designed to be built into a hillside for installation benefits. You want to get creative?
These are all great points. I bought a property that was literally the inside of the Grand Canyon. It was And you know who bought it? A rock climber. And so he brags to his friends that he's, climbing on his own land, literally.
Yeah.
So there's a property for everybody out there. You have to ask yourself, is this the kind of stuff that you do or not? And there's no wrong answer. Only you can answer it.
Shooting range guy bought it. There you go. So that's all. Yeah, from Google Maps, it didn't look too steep, just steep enough that it might be hard to put a cabin on.
Yep.
Okay. I'm not. Like Jack said, it's up to you. Could you roll it into your inventory and probably do fine? Yeah.
That's probably what's going to happen. You're going to roll it into your inventory and you're probably going to do fine. Or you can spend a bunch of money and send out more mail and get perfect properties, which is what I choose to do.
That's why we're Jack and Jill. All right.
It's not Jill and Jack either, by the way.
Oh, thanks. Sham God asks, I have one under contract for $4,000 where it has taxes at $1,200. I tried to see if it could be reassessed and the tax is lower. And it's looking unlikely. Will high taxes on such a low-priced property make it more difficult for me to sell it?
Quite the opposite. Every time a property comes in, and I look at it in the database, and it's got a lot of back taxes on it, I stop what I'm doing, and I hyper-focus on it. Because in general, properties that have a lot of high back taxes on them are worth a lot more than properties with very small amount of taxes. So,
that's true.
No, I would really review it and see why is it assessed higher than some of the other ones in the area. I bet the answers are going to be real good.
I want to say too, when you go to sell it, Jam God, the high taxes, you could do one or two things. You can renegotiate the price because of the taxes, A, but B, never count on the seller. He's not going to catch him up. So you're going to incur those taxes. Do you want to, what do you say? It's not back taxes, it's yearly taxes. So, it's even worth.
Well, high taxes no, it's even better.
Oh, now it's even more valuable.
Now I'm double.
Now you have now it's something I want.
Yep.
So yeah.
In general, there are places in the planet like New Jersey, specifically New Jersey has the highest tax rate, highest property taxes in the planet. And number 2 is California. Would you rather live in California or New Jersey?
Right.
Go ahead.
Well, I'm just saying, so you have a property you can buy for $4,000, and whatever it's assessed at, it's assessed high enough that their taxes are $1,200 a year. Holy boy! I could be running to the bank on this. I need more information, but it's triggering for me a possible run to the bank situation. Like, what is going on that they assess it that high? And you talk to them, and they're like, "No, we're sticking to it because everything around there is at $80,000." Oh, I'm running to the bank. And does that mean that I'm afraid that's because of the high taxes? Because it's worth it. So good job. Rod asks, I've been providing less and less. This is good. I've been providing less and less, hand-holding information to potential buyers. Isn't it better?
Finally.
Aren't you breathing and sleeping better, Rod? I'm trying to defer questions about use, restrictions, water, even CC&R stuff. Is this I have some thoughts on this. Is this an unwise decision in our model? Should I provide even more service information and not less? Maybe I'm getting a little lazy. Well, here's what I do. First of all, Rod, I would put some of this information that you're just tired of talking about in the posting. Yeah. If it's really easy, black and white about CC&R stuff. Hey, everyone, there is an HOA. The annual fees are this, and they require X. That would cut off a lot of questions right there.
Yeah.
And then as far as the hand-holding and all that, the people that call you 16 times,
they're not going to buy it anyway.
Yeah, they're traditionally they're not your guys. So you're doing nothing wrong by sending them to your website or sending them to the county. You're kind of getting them off your plate. So,
people that buy the property with their credit card are the ones who buy the property. They almost never call you.
Yeah.
So there's exceptions and stuff, but by the way,
you're on the right track.
Jill and I have cracked the credit card Jill Pay thing. So we're going to bust it next week and try to get this done as fast as possible for everybody.
Yep. Cool. All right, Kelly Ray, and you're welcome. And by the way, be safe. Everybody in the south, wherever this hurricane is coming, be careful. Kyler asks, what is the name of the quiet title book you mentioned, Jack? Do you still recommend it? Thank you, Kyler, for bringing that back up. Oh, Kyler, I talked to somebody that you...
Mark Manuel. The guy's name is Mark. He's an attorney. Mark Manuel, and it's something about Arizona, splitting Arizona process, persecution, and something. Hold on. Jill, go ahead and talk.
Okay. No, no, Kyler, thank you. You brought us. Looks like one of your buyers is not one of your buyers now because he's going to be an investor with you. So that's awesome. All right, Shamgod asked, I mailed, and I think this gentleman is on the call right now too, which is really, really, really cool. So welcome. All right, Shamgod asked, I mailed 12 counties on my last mailer, and I'm finding myself overwhelmed. I hear you. Trying to learn the values of so many different subdivisions for so many different counties. Yes, that's when you do 12 at one time. Yes. Is there anything that I could be done to simplify with it? Yes, without worrying if I might be overpaying. I find myself spending a ton of time on due diligence and still not being sure if I'm buying at good pricing. Thanks for all the help, guys. Well, here's one thing about this, especially when you're starting out. The good news is you're going to get real good at this really fast. The bad news is you're running around learning 12 different counties. I usually recommend people, let's start with 1 and then 2 and then add and then add and then add as you get to know these different counties, get to know. You don't like that idea?
No.
All right, well, Jack, are you going to do the shotgun approach?
Yeah.
All right, okay. Then what do you want to? So is there anything he could do to simplify this other than
baptism by fire, man? I'm not joking. What's wrong with that?
All right, that's true.
I think you made the right decision.
Okay.
I mean, if you.
Well, okay, that's true. You know what? You brought up another way to look at it, and you're right. I get it.
The next time any of you talk to Luke, ask him this. What's the number one thing that you can do to absolutely ensure that you're going to be incredibly successful at this? And you know what he's going to say? Send out a lot of mail.
Go crazy.
Go nuts.
Yeah, like 6,200 offers.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I'm with you. And I'm sure Luke's 6,200 offers are not to one county.
Let's do the math. 6,200 offers done correctly.
You are right.
Cost $3,000.
Yep, and thank you. Kathleen just said, who needs sleep?
$3,000 to buy 10, 15, 20 properties or whatever the numbers end up being that you make, I don't know, $5,000 each on?
Yep.
10 times 5 is 50,000. So would you spend $30,000 to make 50 to 100 grand?
Yeah. All right. So here's
all the problems that go on, and there's only like 2 or 3 people that we have right now. It's the largest number, by the way, that are actually complaining a little bit. Are all associated with the fact that the members are trying to save a lot of money. They're pinching pennies. I mean, literally, like they're so microscopically managing money that that's just you're going to set yourself up for some problems.
Right. Okay.
But I get it. I mean, I get it.
Just doing to simplify without worrying. No, you're just going to have to go through it, aren't you? There's no real
Don't
easy.
Worry.
Yeah, you'll be fine.
Don't worry. I mean, you're going to make mistakes. Like I don't know if the show. Remember we were talking about the first time waitress or waiter? I don't know if that show aired yet. Have you ever been in a restaurant? Waitress walks up and says, "I have to tell you, you're my first table. So will you please just bear with me because I'm real nervous and this is my first time. You're my first table." It's happened to me a few times, and my response is, "You know what?
We're leaving."
I usually say, "I'm happy for you. This is great, and we're going to be the most memorable customer you've ever had. We're going to make your job the easiest ever, and probably give you the best tip. So make all the mistakes on us." So if you say that to a seller, when Joe's done laughing like Snoopy.
Sorry. Oh, here comes Snoopy now.
Oh my God.
Sorry. That was my rose parade.
Day, I guess.
I need a cocktail. That's what's going on. We've been up late and up early multiple days in a row. So in my defense, sorry.
9 times out of 10, no, 10 times out of 10, you're going to know more about the property than the person you're buying it from.
True.
And so just tell them you're new and that you're going to get the deal done. It's just might not be pretty.
Yeah.
Jeez, Joe, you smoked dope earlier?
No, I'm sorry. Okay, Michael asks, as a licensed provider of First American Title, what does that mean for landinvestors.com community? Should we do all deals through you? How will it work?
Oh, no. So they have a data company. And part of that data company is that the answer is yes, eventually. Mm-hmm. Not in the beginning. Just use the data the way that you would use it, RealQuest and the whole thing. But there's a massive title component, title/escrow component to it, and we're going to release we're going to, if you remember about a month ago, I ran a poll and said, would you pay a couple $100 to have us close your deal? And everybody said yes. So that's the version.
Mm-hmm.
To answer your question, it's up to you, but yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we could.
Is it going to come in phases? I think first we're going to be able to provide more extensive assessor data. Next, we're going to be able to provide title
plant raw data.
That's it.
And escrow service. So we will be able to close your deal, but we will not be able to provide title insurance. That's phase 3.
Right.
We will be eventually to do that. It'll be the equivalent of how we close deals through notary now. Mm-hmm. We'll just handle the whole damn thing because we're doing it for ourselves anyway.
Exactly.
Our staff's really excited about doing your deals, by the way.
Why?
I said we're going to open it up and we're going to do it to the people that do our own deals.
Yeah.
They said thanks.
Yeah.
I can't wait to do Michael Ellion's deal
because I'm not busy enough. Is that why? Yeah. Okay.
I haven't shared that with you.
I know. Okay. Thanks. Peter asked, this is a good question. Do option agreements all need to be cash deals, or is the way to do my part as a term deal after paying the seller without complicating things too much?
Great question. It only comes up once in a while. And the answer is I would never do a terms deal on an option situation.
Okay, wait. But what if I paid cash for it? Now I own it and I sell it as an option.
That's okay.
Or I might not sell it as I sell it as a terms deal.
Yeah.
So if that's what you're asking.
But then it's not an option deal anymore. You own it.
Right. Exactly. So
I know what you're getting at, Peter.
Yeah.
It's a mess.
Yeah. So you guys, you were trying to avoid outlaying the extra money on it by doing it as an option, and now you're going to outlay it anyway, but you're selling it on terms. Mm-hmm. But if you're comfortable with the transaction, that's okay.
I mean, people change their minds. Stuff changes all the time. You're really trusting. It's like a wrap mortgage.
Well, let me run this by you because the numbers might make a difference. Because we had a guy that was who has a popular podcast, as a matter of fact, who was on our show one time, and he got I don't know if he was on our show or we were on his show. I cannot remember. And you know what? We were on his show. He asked us, and because we were up and coming podcasters, he invited us on his show. It was in the house, that house on the beach that time. Anyway, the different house. So. Anyway, he was so intrigued by our business model, he hung up the phone and went and bought one of our properties off eBay to test this. Not kidding. It was so darn funny. And it was like it was one of those, we were just throwing out little silly properties for a while. I mean, we're selling them for less than $500 all in because it ended up being a bidding thing. He got it for $50 plus a $299 our processing fee, whatever it was. So he was in for $400 or $450. I don't remember what it was, right? So that was his all-in price. So he turned around and sold it on terms and the terms were like a $500 down payment and $50 a month for 2 years. So he was like just riding on it. So my point of bringing it up was, if your terms deal now, like if the down payment is covering, the majority of the full purchase price of that property, so you have numbers like that, then I definitely don't feel bad about it.
That's not that he owned the property. So
right.
That's a fantastic model. Yeah. That's one we talk about all the time. Just make sure you own the property.
Yeah.
What you don't want to do is buy a property on terms from a guy for $50 a month and then sell it on terms to somebody else for $75 a month.
Right.
And cross
hope
your fingers,
that it works.
Swing hard and hope for the best, like I play golf.
Thank you. You silly. All right. Richard asked, we're over 4. We have 3 more. Is that okay?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, all right. We're going to keep going for a little bit more. All right. Richard asked, I sent an offer to a lawyer. He said he will only sell on the same kind of deed the property was conveyed on.
That's okay.
A quit claim and not a warranty deed.
That's okay.
He also has 8 other properties in the same county. Does this seem odd?
No. Not for a lawyer. And in general, I'm not afraid of quit claim deeds at all. But that is not a red flag for me in any way.
Yeah. So, all right, Brandon. Sorry, Brandon, you skipped my question. Sorry. But here it is again. What's your opinion? We did this one on the hillside.
The hillside. We might be
talking down more.
We spent a bunch of time on this, but
we did talk about this one, Brandon, on the hillside. I hope that maybe. So sorry about that.
My answer is I wouldn't do it, but everybody else's answer, including Luke's and Kathleen's and Jill's, is that it's worth taking a look at.
So we're all good now.
So if you need it, just check it on YouTube. We post these on YouTube immediately after, and you can listen to it there.
Cool. All right, Albert asks, I'm buying 5 parcels in California, and there are some with delinquent taxes. I would like to use an escrow company. Question. What is a typical cost to do an escrow on land? Secondly, do you recommend any escrow company here in California? I live very near to Anaheim, 10 minutes from where you are right now.
We're in Anaheim, standing in the center of Anaheim
I
right
forgot Albert's right here. Yay.
You know what, Luke? Could you type in the chat what you think in Southern California escrow would be? Same owner, same seller, 5 properties. I'm gonna blurt my number out. I think it would cost $1,200.
Okay.
All in, that's all of it.
He thinks $1,500.
Okay, $1,500. So
for 5. All right. What were you gonna say?
That's it.
Is that what you said?
I said $1,200.
Oh,
he said 15.
All right. I love it. So good deal. Does anybody have anyone that we really like in California?
Luke, do you have down here? Do you have
in Orange County? Or anybody?
Do you use chances are it's southeastern California, so I don't know if there's a company that you use. I gravitate toward First American.
Mm-hmm.
We close a lot of these deals just like this one. There we go.
San Dieguita Escrow Donia. She is really good. Awesome.
There you go.
And I would drop Luke's name because that would be helpful, and ask for the investor rate.
Always ask for the investor rate.
Uh-huh.
Everybody on the call. First thing you do with an escrow company is say, we're an investor, and that you can get 50% off.
Awesome.
Good stuff, people.
I think we did it.
Chairs would have been good to do this call.
Chairs would have been nice.
Sitting would have been
Sitting would have been nice. You're welcome, Albert. All right.
Same time next week?
Yeah.
Happy acquisitions. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.